You might have come across similar headlines before. But today, we're delving deeper into the multi-layered challenges currently confronting China. We're not just talking about an economic slowdown or the escalating global tensions. We're focusing on a critical and often overlooked aspect: the changing attitudes of China's young generation towards society and governance. This shift in perspective among the youth is not just a passing phase but a significant transformation that could redefine China's future path. Since the Beijing Olympics in 2008, China has shown internationally that they are the number 2 country in terms of economic growth and power. However, China's meteoric economic growth, once averaging around 10% annually since 1978, has hit a significant slowdown. The property market, a critical pillar of the economy, is teetering on the brink of collapse. China's total debt, encompassing household, corporate, and government liabilities, has surged to an alarming level, exceeding 290% of its GDP. These economic shifts manifest in real-world consequences. Youth unemployment is particularly concerning, with the jobless rate among 16 to 24-year-olds reaching around 21% in mid-2023. Significantly higher than the national average. Public discontent is rising in tandem with these economic pressures. The manufacturing sector, once the backbone of China's economic miracle, is struggling. The sector is grappling with rising costs and shifting global dynamics, leading to a migration of industries to more economically viable locations like Southeast Asia and Mexico. A marked contrast exists between China's older generation, which experienced unprecedented economic prosperity, and today's youth, who are navigating a landscape of constrained freedoms and uncertain futures. Young adults in China have grown up in an era where rapid economic growth was the norm, often justifying strict governmental controls and limited access to global platforms like Facebook and other social media. China's past economic growth was significant. But since Trump's administration, China's role on the international stage has been increasingly marked by tension and competition, especially with the United States and Western countries. These strained relations, stemming from trade disputes, security concerns, and differing political ideologies, add another layer of complexity to China's internal challenges. The geopolitical dynamics influence China's domestic policies, economic strategies, and its global influence, impacting international trade and political relations. Also, China's stringent one-child policy, though initially a strategy for population control, has led to a demographic crisis. The country faces a rapidly aging population with a shrinking workforce, creating immense pressure on social services and economic sustainability. The policy also resulted in a severe gender imbalance, with far-reaching social and cultural implications. This demographic imbalance is not just a statistical concern but a real challenge affecting every facet of Chinese society. In recent times, a significant trend has emerged among the younger generation in China, a trend driven by disillusionment and a quest for better opportunities. The frustration stemming from the prolonged zero-COVID policies and the desire for a life unshackled from stringent social controls have led many young Chinese citizens to consider leaving their homeland. This movement, fueled by both ambition and desperation, has given rise to the concept of runology, a social media trend encapsulating the idea of escaping from the restrictive environment in China. For many of these young adults, the lure of countries like the United States, Canada, and Australia represents not just a geographical shift but a leap towards freedom and opportunity. The journey of these individuals, often through unconventional and risky routes, highlights a deep-seated yearning for a life beyond the confines of China's authoritarian grip. In the wake of Xi Jinping's tenure since 2012, there's been a noticeable pattern. Although the total number of Chinese citizens seeking asylum abroad has remained consistent at about 15,000 per year, the nature and background of these emigrants have evolved. The recent wave isn't composed of political dissidents or religious practitioners as in the past but rather ordinary citizens, driven by a blend of personal and economic frustrations. These range from the high pressures of urban life, including the soaring costs of housing and rigid social expectations, to the adverse impacts of government policies such as the one-child rule and the stringent zero-COVID measures. The rise in emigration interest, particularly among the youth, symbolizes a critical shift in the societal mindset. This exodus of the young and educated populace is not without its consequences for China. It signals a potential brain drain, a loss of the very demographic that could drive future innovation and economic growth. Beijing's policymakers and business leaders are increasingly cognizant of this risk and are attempting to counteract it by incentivizing Chinese students abroad to return, and by making concerted efforts to retain their educated workforce. These developments point to a complex web of socio-economic challenges and aspirations, painting a picture of a generation caught between the allure of global opportunities and the weight of national expectations. The implications of this trend extend far beyond individual lives, posing questions about China's future as a global power and its ability to retain and nurture its talent pool. For over a decade, we've heard numerous predictions and concerns about potential crises in China. While it's true that such predictions have often not materialized, and past issues may have seemed minor in hindsight, the current situation presents a fundamentally different landscape. One key aspect to consider is the changing mindset of China's younger generation. Unlike their predecessors, today's youth in China have grown up in a rapidly evolving world where economic growth is not a given but a fluctuating reality. This shift has led to a re-evaluation of their relationship with the CCP and their expectations from the government. As economic growth decelerates, it's essential to ask whether the younger generation maintains the same degree of loyalty to the CCP as their elders. There's growing evidence that they value limited government intervention more and hold individual freedoms and family autonomy in higher regard compared to the older generation. This generational shift in values and expectations could have significant implications for China's future, both internally and in its interactions on the global stage. Please leave a comment on what you think, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel.